As a massive Bray Wyatt mark, I was super excited when he got into W2K23 as DLC. But with all his gimmicks, I decided to spin a wheel as to which one I would play throughout an entire year. The Fiend, Firefly Funhouse, Current, Husky Harris, yes, the Wyatt Family, and the Eater of Worlds. So let's see what happened. So we spin the wheel for our first SmackDown, and the first Bray Wyatt we get to play as is the Wyatt Family Bray Wyatt, as he takes on Karrion Kross and Shinsuke Nakamura in a triple threat. Bray Wyatt eats a Kinshasa, but Nakamura forgets to cover me, and he goes for Kross instead, so we kick out. Then I hit Nakamura with a big clothesline. Karrion Kross runs back in, hits me with a Doomsday Saito suplex, and I thought I could kick out without using resiliency, but I was wrong, and I lost due to that, so Karrion Kross defeats me. And now at Backlash, we spin the wheel, and we get to play as Firefly Funhouse Bray Wyatt, who for some reason has both the Fiend and Uncle Howdy. We take on Santos Escobar, who's got his own managers. Despite some interference by Legado del Fantasma, we destroyed Santos Escobar, locked in the Mandible Claw, and that was the end of him. He passed out. Firefly Funhouse Bray Wyatt has won a match. So we spin the wheel once again, and we get to play as the Eater of Pinfalls, the Eater of Worlds, Bray Wyatt, as we take on the Ring General Gunther for the Intercontinental title. Despite one close call with a powerbomb, I kicked out, even without resiliency. I hit the, Bray Wyatt hit the Uranagi, followed up with the Sister Abigail, and defeated Gunther, ending his 500-day title reign or something like that. And Bray Wyatt finally wins a championship, other than the Universal one. So, that's awesome. Good job, Bray. And now at Hell in a Cell, we spin the wheel, and we get to play as the Fiend Bray Wyatt, my favorite Bray Wyatt, as we take on Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship. I feel like I'm having some bad flashbacks, some bad memories about this match, I feel like. So we pick up our trusty sledgehammer, pound Seth Rollins with it a couple times, lock on the Mandible Claw, and pin Seth Rollins, and the Fiend has become the WWE World Heavyweight Champion. On to the next month, we spin the wheel, and we get to play as the Fiend once again, as Bray Wyatt has swapped out the World Heavyweight title with his own championship belt. And he takes on Roman Reigns, the undisputed champion, in a champion versus champion match. Roman Reigns completely clobbered and destroyed us. He hit a Superman punch, but we tried to outsmart him with a blackout. The lights go out, we swap from behind him and hit him, but in the end, he still hits us with a Superman punch and a spear. Roman Reigns destroys the Fiend. The Fiend is on the outside crying, probably. So now at Money in the Bank, we spin the wheel and we get to play as Husky Harris, who, if you don't know, was Bray Wyatt before Bray Wyatt was even a thing. His character arc ended when he got punted in the head by Randy Orton. So now he's at Money in the Bank trying to win the briefcase and maybe get a title shot against the Fiend. This match was a giant schmoz of a match. It was really just chaotic and insane. Husky tries to get up the ladder, but Karrion slaps him in the ass 3 times. Jimmy Uso climbs back up immediately, grabs the briefcase, and Jimmy Uso is Mr. Money in the Bank as Husky Harris is lost again. And on SmackDown, we spin the wheel once again, and we get to play as the Fiend again. Only this time we get to take on Solo Sikoa. So the Fiend goes all out, hog wild, to just absolutely brutalize Solo Sikoa as much as he can. He makes him pass out, or just die, I guess, to the Mandible Claw. The Fiend gets his revenge on Roman by taking out his bloodline brethren. And at SummerSlam, Seth Rollins is back in the fray as he's looking to take on the Eater of Worlds, Bray Wyatt, the current Intercontinental Champion. So Seth Rollins has been downgraded to mid-card status after his loss. And it is a last man standing match. Seth Rollins throws everything he has at Bray Wyatt, but Bray Wyatt just no-sells the shit out of him. He just every time Seth knocks him down, he gets back up after like 2, and we just brutalize him with the sledgehammer. Sister Abigail, and he stays down for the 10. So now Seth Rollins has lost not only 2 matches to Bray Wyatt, but 2 title matches to him as well. Pretty bad record, if I must say. So on SmackDown, after we spin the wheel, we get to play as Husky Harris again, as we take on Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar crushed us in 3 minutes. German suplexes, F5s, and that was the end of Husky Harris. Husky Harris goes back to developmental. And at Clash of the Castle, spin the wheel. The Wyatt family, not just Bray Wyatt, but the entire Wyatt family, Luke Harper and Eric Rowan, come out to take on the new undisputed champion, Jimmy Uso. He probably cashed in on Roman and won the title with his brother in his corner. Although that's kind of awkward after the results of SummerSlam. It's kind of awkward, but that's besides the point. It was a back and forth match between these two. But in the end, Jimmy Uso hits a Uso splash. The Wyatt family on the outside don't do anything. And Jimmy Uso retains his championship. Bray Wyatt is not happy with the Wyatt family not doing anything, but it's another loss for the Eater of Pinfalls. So on SmackDown, spin the wheel, and unfortunately we get a mixed tag match as Ivar and Valhalla take on the team of The Fiend and Alexa Bliss. The mixed tag matches suck. So despite our best efforts, Ivar was still able to finish off The Fiend, even though he's the world champ, and hit him with like the Rikishi driver, and Ivar and Valhalla defeat the team of The Fiend and Alexa Bliss. In Extreme Rules, we have a ladder match. As we spin the wheel, we get to play as The Fiend again. The Fiend, once again, takes on Seth Rollins for the 3rd time for a world title at a pay-per-view. So we do what we always do with Seth. We hit him with the mandible claw, make him pass out. We climb our big ass up the ladder and reclaim the Universal World Heavyweight Championship belt. Seth Rollins just needs to stop, man. He's such a loser. Like, jeez, just give up already, bro. Now it's time to move on. November is spin the wheel for SmackDown, and it's The Fiend again. Like, what the fuck, man? The Fiend for like the 3rd time? Whatever. As we take on the ring general Gunther, who we beat down, hit him with the mandible claw, make him pass out. Poor Gunther, man. Not only does he lose his title to the Eater of Pinfalls, but he also loses his pride as he gets choked out by The Fiend. How sad. And now it's time for WarGames. So we have to spin the wheel 4 times to get 4 different Wyatts since we're in the match. So the Wyatts that we get are The Fiend, because of course we do. Firefly Funhouse, the Eater of Worlds, and the current Bray Wyatt. Yes, he finally got picked. It took like 8 months, but he's finally in the realm. So who do we face? We're fighting Gunther again. Gunther is now bringing Ludwig Kaiser, Giovanni Vinci, and an impromptu temporary member of Imperium, Ilya Dragunov. And after a WarGames match that was incredibly frustrating and made me want to pull my hair out, Muscle Man Bray Wyatt hits a senton. I immediately go for a cover, and we defeat Imperium after like 30 minutes and 15 failed attempts at a pinfall. It was stressful. But the Bray Wyatts pulled it out for the win, as the wheel decides to land on the Wyatt family, as we take on, god damn it, it's Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar proceeds to crush us, destroy us. We try our very best, but Brock Lesnar jumps off the top rope with a knee. He goes for the cover, and rather than using my resiliency, I decide to try to just survive itself, and I lost. So, pretty dumb by me, huh? A pretty big miscalculation on my end for that. And at day 1, the Eater of Worlds is going to fight for the United States Championship. Take on Austin Theory, who's the current champion. It was a back and forth fight, and unfortunately I have to report that I actually lost to Austin Theory. He hit me with like one of his big moves, but I kicked out. And then the second one, he hit me with this weird fucking STO suplex thing, and that was the end. So unfortunately, Austin Theory actually won a match. I know. It's sad. I hate him. Eater of Worlds, once again becoming the Eater of Pinfalls. So now in the lead up to the Royal Rumble, we got a SmackDown where the Eater of Worlds, Bray Wyatt, takes on Big E. Eater of Worlds has got Uncle Howdy in his corner again. I don't know why he's around, but he is. We're the Intercontinental Champions still, so that's good. Unfortunately, we did not win the match. Big E hit us with the big ending, and that was the end of it. So, Big E defeats us No title change though, so, you know, at least the Eater of Pinfall still has the Eater of Intercontinental Championships. And now it's time for the Royal Rumble. We spin the wheel to see which Bray Wyatt we're going to play as, and it lands on Husky Harris. Like, it was so wild. The Fiend came out at number 2. Current Bray Wyatt came out at number 6. Firefly at number 9. And I think there was like another Bray Wyatt that came out. And I was waiting and waiting and waiting, thinking, okay, when am I going to come out? And then I got to the end. Because I came out at number 30. How freaking weird is that? Out of all the Bray Wyatts, I come out as number 30. But anyways, it came down to the final 3, and this became super infuriating. So it came down to Ridge Holland, myself, and Sheamus. Because of the AI in this game, they double-teamed the crap out of me. So it was really annoying having to fight 2 people that weren't even fighting each other. So eventually I got Ridge Holland out. I chokeslammed his ass out of the ring. Unfortunately, Sheamus was still there, and he threw me out. And Sheamus won the Royal Rumble. I was not very happy. Both from, you know, a Wyatt perspective and also just a player perspective, I was pissed off.
I hope you fucking die.
So we spin the wheel once again, and we get to play as Firefly Funhouse Bray Wyatt. And Firefly is looking ready to exercise out his demons as he takes on Shinsuke Nakamura, Santos Escobar, and the piece of garbage who won the Royal Rumble, Sheamus. After a mess of a match, we were able to lock on the Mandible Claw into Santos Escobar, and before Sheamus and Nakamura get back in the ring, he passed out. So we won the match, and yeah, it was a mess. And now we arrive at the Elimination Chamber, where current era Bray Wyatt will be taking on Jimmy Uso, Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, Edge, and Seth freaking Rollins again for the undisputed WWE Universal Heavyweight Champion of the world. During the match, Bray Wyatt decided to get on top of the cell and have a little, have some fun on climbing the cell. The final 2 was Brock Lesnar and Bray Wyatt. Brock Lesnar threw everything he had, and after an exhausting 10 minutes of fighting between Brock and Bray Wyatt would hit the Mandible Claw and put Lesnar to sleep, and Bray Wyatt would become the undisputed WWE Universal Champion, something that he probably will never do again, ever. And now this final SmackDown before WrestleMania. We spin the wheel for the last time for SmackDown, and it ends on Firefly Funhouse Bray Wyatt once again, as we take on our one of our arch rivals, Shinsuke Nakamura. As I was rocking out to some Persona 4 music during the match, I stopped paying attention for a second, and Shinsuke Nakamura caught me with a Kinshasa and pinned me. Well, not a great way to go out on SmackDown, but hopefully WrestleMania is better. Maybe. And it's time for WrestleMania, the first night. We spin the wheel, and we get to play as Husky Harris once again, as we take on the current undisputed WWE Universal Champion, Bray Wyatt. It is a mirror match as Bray Wyatt from the past takes on Bray Wyatt from the future. And Husky Harris gets obliterated for the most part. But the lights go out, and Husky Harris appears from behind Bray Wyatt, hits his sister Abigail, only gets 2. So then Bray Wyatt just says screw it and goes and just hits us, locks on the Mandible Claw, and we pass out. Bray Wyatt retains as Husky Harris has been put out to dust for good. And now at night 2, the final spin the wheel, and it lands on the Fiend. Yes, how appropriate. The Fiend defends the World Heavyweight Championship against the Wyatt family, Bray Wyatt. What a poetic way to end it, right? The 2 best versions of Bray Wyatt go at it for the Fiend Championship belt. These 2 put on a clinic back and forth action, finishers popping everywhere. Eventually it ends when the Fiend locks on the Mandible Claw and puts Bray Wyatt to sleep, proving that the Fiend was truly the best gimmick that Bray Wyatt ever had, retaining his world title. So after 1 year of Universe Mode, what is the results of this? Well, in first place is the Fiend, who got picked 8 times by the wheel. Second place is the Wyatt family, who got picked 7, which means that both the Fiend and the Wyatt family were the majority of the spins of the choices, which is kind of crazy. And third place is a tie between the Firefly Funhouse Bray Wyatt and Husky Harris. It's a tie with 4 apiece. So then in fourth place is the Eater of Worlds, who got picked a whopping 3 times. And finally, in dead last is the current Bray Wyatt, who got picked 2 times. So yeah, that's the results of all of these. I really like this because I really wanted to do this because Bray Wyatt is one of my favorite wrestlers of the last decade. So I hope you really liked it, because if you did, then I might do more. All right, bye. Have a nice day.